Hey guys, my name is Sal Shakir, and my story is a little different than most. I am an immigrant from the Middle East, and if you know anything about the Middle East, you can only begin to imagine the struggles we went through. After immigrating to the United States, and plenty of personal and financial hardships later, I finally reached my version of the American dream. The vehicle that helped me reach my financial freedom was real estate. Now, I run multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses, and I like to help others. That's why I'm here. If I can do it, so can you. Believe me. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll show you how.
Welcome back, guys. Today is day 2 of the 14-day challenge of scaling your real estate operation, aka Hustler to CEO. All right, we talked about the marketing is a bloodline of your business. So now we're gonna dive deep into explaining each marketing campaign or technically the major marketing campaigns that you need to have a real estate operation or successful real estate operation. All right, let's get to it. Importance of marketing. Marketing is an investment. I always used to think marketing is an expense, and why do I need to market? Why do you have to spend those dollars? I just made all that money. Why do you have to spend it? Well, if you start looking at marketing as an expense, you will not succeed. So therefore, you have to look at it as an investment. You put $1 out, and how many dollars comes back in? If you stop doing that, obviously it'll stop your flow of the revenue. So always think that, have the investment, attach the word investment to marketing. It always helps, even though it's something simple, but it does help. Number 2, it is the bloodline of your business. We talked about that earlier. Without marketing, you can't really scale your operation. Without marketing, you can't really take it to the next level. Without marketing, your competition will beat you. Therefore, you need to always be marketing. You have to be innovative. You always have to do something different, and obviously more is better. The mindset of marketing, that's the most important one of them all. When we market and make money, we tend to, oh, it's working. Now my operation is bigger. It's producing money. Maybe I shouldn't focus as much on it. Yeah, you might be marketing, but you are not focusing on it as much. Guess what happens? Down the line, a month or 2 or 3 months down the line, your pipeline starts dying out. And that is because people are not consistent with marketing. You always have to be consistent with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because if it's good and you stop marketing, it's gonna be bad. If it's not good and you stop marketing, it's gonna be even worse. So you have to always be consistent with marketing. When I say be consistent with marketing, do I say just throw dollars away and expect something back? No, track those numbers. And obviously we're gonna be discussing that over the next few days. And we're gonna be talking about some metrics to track in your marketing. But I want you to always be prepared that you're not gonna stop your marketing. Just because it worked out the one time and you didn't just get lucky, it worked because you start marketing. So keep it going. All right, the marketing mindset. All right, here's some marketing channels that we're gonna be discussing. Obviously, this is not all the marketing channels, but we're gonna be discussing the most important ones. All right, so if I miss some, don't judge me. All right, digital marketing. What is digital marketing? That could be PPC, pay per click. You can pay Google. If you Google something, sell my house or something, you're gonna find some companies on top, and next to it there is the AD button, the ad button. That one means that they're paying for ads, so it's more like a bidding auction style. So per how many times it shows people, per click is how much your cost is. So that's what your PPC is, and it could be Google, it could be Bing, which is Yahoo. There's multiple platforms, but the major one is Google. Second one is SEO. What does SEO stand for? Is search engine optimization. And that means if you're searching certain keywords, or you're searching sell my house, and I have an article in my website that targets your pain points. You could be saying what to do when on pre-foreclosure, or what to do when there is a flood in my house, or what to do when I owe back taxes. And I have an article to help homeowners, or help my targeted clients, my targeted audience into my website, and I talk to them what can happen, and by the way, I can buy your house. That means that's called search engine optimization. Search engine optimization actually helps PPC to drive the cost per PPC down. So the better SEO you have, the better your PPC cost is and more conversion you have. And third one is social media. That could be your Facebook, your Instagram, any social media outlets really out there to market that you buy houses. And that's what you really need, that you can have affiliates. You market to them, say, hey, I buy houses, I pay $500 or $1,000 referral. Any type of marketing is vital in your business. And if you're looking for a resource, just go to magnusdigital.com and you'll have all your answers there. If you want to hire a company that does it for you, they do a great job. Second marketing channel is direct mail. What is direct mail? Well, we all receive those. We all receive some kind of flyer, a piece of mail. Some of them say urgent. Some of them say last notice. Some of them is colorful. Some of them just have like something that stands out. And some of them look really serious that you want to open it. All those are direct mail pieces. And it could be a flyer, or it could be a piece, it could be a letter inside of an envelope. Really, they're all direct mail. And we get them, we call them junk mail, or the more innovative they are, they're really just pieces of mail. And we're going to be showing examples of direct mail that works in today's age. And if you want to know a resource, turboletters.com. Third one is cold calling. Cold calling is one of the best marketing channels. Actually, if you ask me, the best two marketing channels in today's age is digital marketing and cold calling. Third one is direct mail, and the rest will follow. Cold calling is, we all received calls before saying, hey, I can offer you this, I can offer you that. And that's really what cold calling is. There's a human connection to it. Why is cold calling powerful? It's because of that point. There is that human connection. When you're sending a letter, you're sending an email, you're sending a text, you're sending a ringless voicemail, it's not really as powerful as someone talking on the other line. Right? There is something they can say, and you can respond to it. So that's why cold calling has been one of the oldest marketing channels, and still till today, it's the most effective. And if you're looking for a resource, go to callgeeks.com for that. Ringless voicemail and voice broadcast, and you have text blast as well. Ringless voicemail it acts like if you just received a voicemail without really ringing your phone, without really ringing it for a long time. You just have a voicemail, you start listening to it, it kind of acts like someone just called you and left you that voicemail. Voice broadcast is, aka VB, is when you pick up the phone and there is a audio message that's playing. It's called, in the industry, it's called robocalls. And it usually says, hey, press 1 if you want to talk to someone, and press 2 if you don't want to talk to anyone, or opt out, and things like that. Text blast obviously is when you're sending mass SMS to people saying, hey, are you interested in selling your house or whatnot? And you can go to Lead Blast Pro for those for the service. All right. Is there other channels that we didn't cover? Of course, there is other ones, but we're just covering the ones that are most common, the ones that really work. And obviously, you can be more innovative. There is bandit signs. We didn't even talk about bandit signs. Bandit sign is just a sign that you put on the side of the road. Make sure that you pick them up if you put them, because you want to make your city, you want to keep your city looking good. All right. So main marketing channels, we talked about it. Direct mail, PPC. There you go. We put bandit signs here, cold calling, real voicemail. All right. So you got free marketing channels. Now we talked about paid marketing channels, but look at the free marketing channels. All this stuff is available for you. You don't have to, if you don't want to spend the money, if you're starting out slow and small before you got your first deal, it's okay. Utilize some of those free marketing channels, like Craigslist. Believe it or not, people have made millions of dollars off Craigslist. People actually go to Craigslist and still use Craigslist till to this day. Zillow offers. They have Zillow. Zillow there is for sale by owner. A lot of people list their property thinking they don't want to list it on the MLS and they want to list it themselves. You can actually make offers on Zillow. For sale by owner.com, FSBO. Driving for $. What is driving for $? Really, it's cost free besides your gas. Most people, and I advise people, if you're just starting out, like you're trying to really be conservative, you can do Uber, and while Ubering, you can drive for $. That's something that people do. They deliver food, or they drive as Uber, and they go put properties down. So driving for $, is really when you're driving in a neighborhood and you see a house that's ran down, that there's grass is high, there's some broken windows, the roof needs work. That is a sign of a distressed home. So what do you do there? You just write down the address and you skip trace them, and then you call them and see if they're interested in selling the house. Referrals. Referrals is a really powerful tool. You offer $500, $1,000 to someone saying, hey, if you bring me a deal, I'll offer you this much. And it could be a friend or a family. Maybe someone is complaining to a family member saying, hey man, I'm going through a tough time. I need to sell my house. And you can be, that person can say, hey, I know somebody. They refer them to you. You're helping them out and you're paying a referral fee to that person. It's a win-win situation. Facebook groups. Facebook groups is actually a really powerful tool. You can go to a bunch of Facebook groups and nowadays you can actually mass send to 10 or more groups at the same time, saying, hey, I buy houses, I offer a referral, or you just say, I buy houses in a bunch of Facebook groups, really. You can just type swap meet Facebook group or whatever in your community. There is hundreds of thousands of people in those groups and they're just flipping through stuff and they might see your ad and want to sell their house to you. So does it help to have a paid marketing? Of course. But does it help having a free marketing campaign? Who doesn't like free? You can make money with paid and with free. Obviously, the paid is more effective, of course, but it doesn't hurt to do both of them. Hey there, I hope you're enjoying this video as much as I am making it and the content that it contains. If you're just starting out, that is okay. I have a free book that you can download and it'll give you the tools, the contract, the resources that you need to getting your first deal. And if you're not new in the business, you can always join my academy that has all kind of videos and accountability and courses that helps you to scale your operation. All right, guys, let's get back to the video. So here we're gonna be discussing how is the flow. What does the flow look like for my marketing channels? So for PPC, pay-per-click, for direct mail, for social media and billboards, and obviously we didn't even talk about billboards. You can put billboards up. We have billboards that we've done before. It worked out great for us. Some people do TV ads as well. That's part of the marketing channels we didn't talk about because again, they're very simple. Billboard is just a billboard or a TV ad. You can just put a TV ad out there. All right, acquisition. This is what happens when someone calls or if someone inputs, if for PPC, someone inputs the form into the website, it goes directly to our acquisition managers. Our acquisition manager's time is very valuable, so we want them to be focused 100% on closing deals. They don't need to focus on marketing. They don't need to focus about the disposition. They don't need to focus about admin or anything else. Their job is to focus on closing deals. That's an acquisition manager's job. And we really call acquisition manager any acquisition individual is an acquisition manager. So don't get confused when we call it a manager for the next few days. For the text and ringless voicemail, those are very, very tedious tasks because there's a lot, it's very time consuming. If you're sending a lot, you're getting a lot of people calling you back saying who you are and whatnot, and you don't want to focus on having those, like spending the acquisitions time on those. So you can hire a virtual assistant or someone that can filter that. They filter it, and then when it's a viable leads, then you can send it to an acquisition manager. So really, that's the most optimum flow that you can have to maximize on your acquisition manager's time. All right, and you can apply the same rule for cold calling. For cold calling, you can do, for hot leads, you can go live transfer, and for like whatever leads, that you can put them through that same process, and then goes to your CRM system. CRM is the customer relationship management, whatever that may be. That may be a spreadsheet, which I highly, highly urge you not to use a CRM system. Use a system that can multiply your operation, that can multiply your effort, that can do some sequences that acts like a human being and maximize, which we'll be covering obviously later. But systems is one of my favorite topics because it has helped me scale tremendously in every business that we ever owned. All right. Services for call calling. All-in dialer is by Ready Mode. They used to be called ZenCall by Ready Mode. You can get it for a discounted price, and really a great platform to run one-man show or a call center. And Need to Skip is your skip tracing platform. What is a skip tracing platform? We're gonna dive deep into skip tracing in the next few slides, or next day. But just to give you a brief overview. So if you're driving for dollars and you find a property, you go ahead and find that property, you put it on Zillow, you find out the name of the seller from the county assessor. There's always a link on Zillow for that. And then you put that name and address into the skip tracing service, and boom, it's gonna give you phone numbers to call. So that's what skip tracing is. You find the phone numbers for that individual that you're looking for. For a CRM system, We recommend Prospect X is your CRM system. Do not use spreadsheets to start. Maybe you want to start spreadsheets, but as you scale, your team members will need something to go off of. They need something to filter. They need something to have some kind of flow to it. And just sticky notes doesn't really do that, especially if you want to make $1 million plus. You can't really do it. Even if you want to make $100,000, you can make it, but it's going to be very hard to keep track. Because if you have a lead that you got, and I'm telling you this happens, some cold call leads convert after a year of getting it. So how are you going to follow up with that lead? Through that sticky note. That sticky note is probably going to get lost. But if you have a system in place, it's not going to get lost. You have reminders, you have it in place, you know what you talked about, you have everything in that one lead. You could probably talk to them for 12 or 13 or 20 times. You have all that log. You understand what happened before. Now when you're calling them again, you understand how you can carry that conversation back again or bring it back to that same moment that you left off. For phone systems, for Prospect X, it has it, but if you want to have an outside call system to track metrics and whatnot, and CallRail is a great service. It tracks metrics for you, records the calls, and tracking really for us is, let's say I wanted to send a letter, direct mail letter, and I want to send a yellow one and a pink one, and I want to see which one works best. Well, I'm going to put two different numbers. Obviously, you can do that with Prospect X as well, but if you want to have a separate system, that's CallRail. So you put two numbers, and if I get more calls for the pink one than the yellow one, so the pink one is working better, and obviously if you convert more leads into deals, then obviously that's the winner. So that's how you track things. If you want a calling agency, you can always go to Upwork and other services. Callgeeks.com is always recommended. They serve the real estate industry in the entire nation. All right. Now we know what marketing channels work and what to use for that. Now let's talk about some metrics, some numbers to look for when it comes to cold calling. So we need to track how many dials are made per day, per agent. And those agents, remember, they can be VAs, virtual assistants. They don't have to be in the office. VAs are a lot cheaper. They're more efficient. They don't have a lot of distractions usually. Third world country could be, or anything like that. So you're tracking how many dials they make, how many leads they produce a day, and the average is anywhere between 2 and 6 leads a day per agent, depending on what states. Some states you get 3, 4, 5, 6. Some states you barely get 2 of them. And it depends how competitive the market is. The contact ratio. What is the contact ratio for that dialer? And ultimately your cost per lead. Remember, we talked about cost per lead. We need to understand how much the cost per lead is to understand how much we can convert into, or how much we need to convert into more money. And ultimately cost per deal. So if your cost per lead is $30, let's say, and you need 30 leads to convert to a deal, you multiply that by that to get the cost per deal. All right, so here is golden address. This is for direct mail. Let me explain what direct mail is, and we'll get back to that one. Direct mail is, we talked about it. There is a piece of letter that you send it, how to do it. We talked about services like turbo letters, and direct mail is one of the marketing channels that used to really, really, really be good, or really one of the only marketing channels that people did in the real estate. And I remember when we first started, we started sending direct mail, and we're like, well, we're not getting as much return as we should. They said, send more direct mail, send more direct mail. Well, we realized that it gets very expensive when you're spending so much money. You can make $1 million from something, but spend $900,000, $950,000, and your profit is $50,000. That's really not a good return on investment. But we know that this works. So we actually found a way that our goal is to make the most money and keep the most out of it. Make the most money and keep the most out of it. So spend the least and make the most. That's the goal. And we know something works. If it works, that means it's not broken. But how can we tweak it and make it work better? So we start going for something called the golden address. And we really sat down one day and to wrap our head around this, how we're going to make the most money spending the least amount of money, because we know it works, but we just need to hone it down and make sure that we make more. And we found out when we skip trace, there is a third unique address that comes back on about 30% of the list. So if you send a list of 100 people and you skip trace them about 30%, between 20 and 30%, you'll find some kind of unique address that comes back. What does that do? That means if someone moved away, and let me take a step back. So if I have a house, I'm gonna act like a homeowner. I own a house, and at the time I'm living at the house, my mailing address is at the house. But then 2 years later, 3 years later, 5 years later, 10 years later, I moved away somewhere else. Well, what did I do? Did I go to the county assessor and say, hey guys, I just updated my address? Who really does that? I would say 99.9999% of people don't do that. So we don't go and update our address. So when you're downloading a list with the address, it's probably the mailing address is going to be the same from years back. But what happens when I move away? What do? Well, I go get maybe internet. I get the water turned on. I get the power turned on. What do they usually ask for? They ask for Social Security and they run your credit. Well, if that's reported, that is the third unique address. That's the most recent address that I live in now. Does that make sense? So when I moved, I have a new address, but the list says my address is still the same. How am I gonna catch that? I won't. So therefore, there is a lot of direct mail that's being wasted. You don't want to waste your direct mail. So what do? We start only mailing to the golden address. And the only way to get the golden address, if you're using a legit skip tracing company that gets you the address. You don't want to use some other companies there's a lot of companies out there nowadays. But a lot of them don't have the proper data. They don't bring that. They have the recycle remarketing data, and really it doesn't translate to anything. Bad data equals to bad investment, and you're gonna spend money on marketing. You're gonna spend, really is gonna snowball into a catastrophe at the end of the day. So if you're looking for a good skip tracing company, needtoskip.com gets you that unique third address, the accurate data. And why is a golden address really an important address to look for? Well, number one, it is an address that most people don't mail to. So if everybody goes and downloads a list from Listiva, ListSource, or ProspectX, and they get a list of 1,000 people, and they're gonna ready to send a mail to. First of all, 30% of that or more, or about 30%, there is people that moved out, and the mail is going to the wrong address anyway. So what happens there? They just throw it away, or it gets returned. That's number one. Number two, you're still sending it to all 1,000 people. Your conversion might be lower because guess what? Everybody else is marketing to them. So when you're sending to the golden address, you're really only honing it down to those 30% people. And guess what? How many people do you think mail to those people? Probably you're going to be the only one, or one of a few people. Versus the other list, they might have a stack of mail, but the golden one, you might have a very, 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 very few direct mail going to you saying, I want to buy your house. Because guess what? They don't have that golden address. Most people don't. This was the biggest thing that we did for direct mail, and it gave us millions of dollars in returns. All right, leads are calling you. These are just quick examples of what direct mail. There's something called the Google Street View postcard, and it looks like someone took a picture of the house, but really it's a Google Street View, just from the Google Street View service they have. All right, KPIs to look for direct mail. All right, response rate is 1 to 5% response rate depending on your market. And obviously having a proper system, CRM system, you can track that. We'll discuss this down the line. Your cost per lead is about $60 to $80 for all incoming calls. All incoming calls is considered a lead from that marketing campaign. Your qualified leads is about 20 to 25%. So 100 leads equal to 20 to 25 qualified seller leads. And this is as of today's KPIs. Leads per deal, 1 deal per 30 qualified. That's the average. For 30 leads, you're getting 1 deal average. All right. And cost per deal is $1,800 to $2,400. So if you're making a $12,000 deal, your cost for that deal is anywhere between $1,800 to $2,400. And obviously you could get a $50,000 deal, a $100,000 deal. That's limitless. But we're just going for the metrics right now that we're looking for the cost. Always look for this. This is one of the most important numbers for return on investments. Your ROI. So if you spend $1, you're expecting $4 back. If you anywhere between 4 and 6x. So if you're spending $1, you're gonna get anywhere between $4 and $6 back. So if I spend $10,000, I expect $40,000 to $60,000 earned from that. And really, that is the healthy number to look for. If you're getting 10x, great. But if you're falling below 4%, then there's something wrong. Start tweaking. Maybe it's the message. Maybe it's the postcard color. Maybe you're doing something wrong. Maybe the data is wrong that you're sending to. Something is wrong. But that's the healthy number to look for. All right. Now we're going to be talking about ringless voicemail and the flow of ringless voicemail. Same thing can happen for the voice broadcast as well. And this is really, there's 3 different flows for that. And obviously you want to maximize. We talked about we don't want it to go to the acquisition managers directly, right? Because that takes a lot of time. You want your acquisition managers to focus on closing deals. So one of my least favorite one is to send it to a voicemail. That's the middle one right here. So if someone calls back, it goes to a voicemail, and if they show an interest, you just go ahead and listen to your voicemail. They show interest, and then you call them back, say, hey, I would like to buy your house. This is my least favorite one because a lot could happen when it goes to voicemail. People can hang up. People maybe don't want to leave a voicemail, and then you're missing out. But if you don't have the manpower, you don't want to do it, something to look for, do that. You might get a deal or two. The second one is IVR. IVR is really like press 1 and press 2. We've all gotten called before, and it says, hey, if you're interested, press 1. If you're not, press 2. It could be different numbers. Or press 9 to get transferred. So really is press 1 to transfer, and they'll transfer to an acquisition manager. It's after they listen to a message saying, hey, are you interested in selling your house? Are you interested somewhat? And if you're not interested, press 2 to be removed. And that could be easily set up within the system. The third one is where you have virtual assistant, all inbound calls and all missed calls, some people may call and hang up, gets answered by your virtual assistants. And then if they warm up or they see a viable lead, then they go ahead and send it to your acquisition manager. So now they alley-oop that deal or that lead to them, and then they work on closing that deal. All right, so really this was just an overview flow, what you can set up, even SMS. Or RVM or voice broadcast. Really the same kind of flow that you want to set up. All right, we're going to be discussing digital marketing. There's 3 types of digital marketing that we talked about earlier. Google AdWords, which is PPC, and obviously there's Bing as well. And search engine optimization. We're focusing more on Google because that is the biggest search engine out there. They're one of the leading industry in digital marketing. And third is social media. So Google AdWords is PPC, of course, and Bing Ads, that's for Yahoo. Google search engine optimization, and you can really have search engine optimization for Bing as well or Yahoo, but again, Google is bigger. So that one is what I talked about earlier. You have an article that you can write or whatnot. You can have 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 different articles. All that helps you with ranking. And is search engine optimization just articles? No, obviously it's the speed of the website. It's there is so many different components. It's the visibility of it, the way, if the guidelines that goes by the provider like Google. If you go by the Google's guidelines and this falls within the speed, it falls within the amount of keywords, and it falls within the right criteria, obviously your search engine optimization is gonna shoot up higher and higher, and converting more leads, driving more traffic to you. Social media is Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and there's other stuff out there, of course, for social media. All right. And here is some things we need to know for a website presence. I'm no social media expert or PPC expert and whatnot, but these are some things I had to look for having a website. So a fast landing page, friendly website and landing page based on geo and best performing keywords. So what does that mean? That means that you need to have the right keywords that you're targeting, because you want to attract the right audience to your website so you can convert them, so they can show interest. Geo, what does that mean? Landing page, fast landing page is obviously the speed of the website has to be optimized. Can't be heavy loading 5 seconds, 10 seconds loading website, people will just bounce. Number one, not just people will just bounce, Google will ding you for that. So you need to make sure that it is performing at higher speed. There is some tools out there that they offer, you know, I think it's called speed test, Google speed test. Just Google it and you'll find there's plenty. There's GT Metrics as well that tracks that or test that for you. GTmetrics.com, I believe, is the name. And then geo, what does geo mean? Geolocation means if you are in Arizona, if you are in California, if you're in Vegas, if you're in Tennessee, if you're in Michigan, you're putting those in, you're tagging your website or you're tagging your pages for that, saying that we do business there. The more you geotag, the better, because if you want to get deals in Vegas and you're not geotagging it, guess what happens? You might get leads from everywhere else. You don't want that to happen. All right. Proper implementation of Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics. Those two tools, Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics, is very, very crucial because you need to understand. So it tracks where they clicked on, it tracks what happened, what kind of movement. So those are analytics that you can track and fine tune it, because just like anything, any marketing channel, PPC is not perfect. You're gonna need to fine tune your website. You need to fine tune your keywords. You need to fine tune plenty of things. And how do you do that? Is obviously by having those tools that's offered by the service themselves for you to tweak it. So if you don't know your numbers, if you don't know what's happening, you can't tweak it. All right. Positive reviews on the site in Google My Business. Actually, positive reviews is great. Google loves that. And then Google My Business, make sure that you have a location, even if it's it doesn't matter where it is. It could be a house, but you need to have a location, because that actually as far as 2 years ago, they actually start doing that. They love having a location into your website, or into even when you're searching your business on Google. So it's called Google My Business. Consistent, ongoing, coordinated marketing strategy between PPC, SEO, and social media. So what we talked about, Google loves SEO. And social media is part of SEO, believe it or not, because you're linking your website to it. So it works some kind of like a blog. It's a massive blog. So all those help you convert more. So it increases your conversion and drops down your cost per lead. So that's what you really look for. So you kind of have an omnipresence. And that really helps with Google. Plan and scaled retargeting strategy based on recently visited and action or inaction on the site visit. The next one is plan, scale, and retargeting strategy. What is retargeting? We've all visited a website before, even on social media or an actual website, and then we just got retargeted for that on social media, on YouTube. We got retargeted from various places, even going through one of those free apps, and they offer some ads on them, and that ad pops up over there. Well, that's called retargeting. You have to make sure that you have some kind of retargeting sequence for the people that visit your website. Obviously, make sure the sequence is more robust for the 24 hours, within the 24 hours versus the person that's been there for 30 days. So the retargeting is different. The type of wording is different. So always have a retargeting campaign. And last but not least, always have an automated software or script to kind of understand what's happening with your website. Because if a website goes down and you don't know about it, what's going to happen? You're still paying for Google to send people to you, and that's going to cost you money. And really, even if you're doing SEO and a customer comes in and there's nowhere to go to and the website is down, then you just lost potential profit on a deal. So make sure that you have things in place. You have proper alerts. Make sure you have always check on it's always evolving, so always check on it. So this is an example of a landing page or a website that someone wants to put a lead in. So name, phone number, and address, and boom, submit. It's just straight to it. That's a landing page. That's not really a full-blown website. That's more of a landing page that is for lead input. All right, guys, we covered a lot of marketing. Obviously, we probably didn't cover all of it, but that's the most important stuff. We covered the basics of it, or the stuff that you can take you from zero to hero, or take you from zero to $1 million a year, or even more per year. Thank you for sticking around and watching this video. All right, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment, and turn on your notification. And I'll see you in the next video, because you do not want to miss the next one.